Welcome back to This Day in Scottish History. I'm your host, Colin MacDonald. Today, we turn our attention to one of the darkest and most infamous events in Scottish history, the Glencoe Massacre, which took place on this day, February 13th, 1692. At the heart of this tragedy was a brutal act of betrayal, one that left an indelible mark on Scotland's history and reinforced the deep-seated animosities of the Highland clans. This was not just an attack, it was an orchestrated slaughter carried out under the guise of Highland hospitality, and it remains a symbol of treachery and political ruthlessness to this day. To understand what led to the massacre, we must step back to the turbulent period following the Glorious Revolution of 1688. King James VII of Scotland and the Second of England, a Catholic monarch, had been deposed and replaced by the Protestant William of Orange and his wife Mary. While this change was welcomed by much of England and lowland Scotland, it was met with resistance in the Highlands, where many clans remained loyal to James. This led to the first Jacobite uprising as Highlanders rallied behind the exiled king in an effort to restore him to the throne. To consolidate his rule, King William demanded that all clan chiefs swear an oath of allegiance to him by January 1st, 1692. Those who failed to do so would be considered traitors and face dire consequences. However, the situation was not so simple. The exiled King James, still hoping for a return to power, delayed issuing his own permission for his supporters to swear loyalty to William until mid-December 1691. By the time the message reached Scotland, the deadline was dangerously close. Alastair MacIain, chief of the MacDonalds of Glencoe, made a desperate effort to comply. He set out through the harsh Highland winter to take the oath at Fort William, only to be told he had to do so in Inverary, nearly 70 miles away. Though he eventually took the oath before a magistrate, it was 5 days late. His submission was recorded and sent to Edinburgh, but it was too late. The wheels of political vengeance were already in motion. Enter Sir John Dalrymple, the Secretary of State for Scotland and a staunch supporter of William's rule. Dalrymple saw an opportunity to make an example of the Highlanders and eliminate a troublesome clan. With the MacDonalds now technically outlaws, he authorised a military action against them, writing chillingly that the only thing to be done is to cut them off root and branch. On February 1st, a detachment of government troops under the command of Captain Robert Campbell of Glenlyon arrived in Glencoe. The MacDonalds, bound by the Highland Code of Hospitality, welcomed them into their homes, offering food and shelter as was customary. For nearly 2 weeks the soldiers lived among the clan, eating at their tables, drinking their whisky, and forging bonds of trust. Then, in the early hours of February 13th, the betrayal unfolded. Orders had come from higher up. The MacDonalds were to be slaughtered. The attack began before dawn, catching the villagers entirely by surprise. Men, women, and children were mercilessly killed in their homes or as they fled into the snowy wilderness. Some were burned alive when their cottages were set alight. Captain Campbell and his men carried out their orders with ruthless efficiency, but many of the MacDonalds managed to escape into the mountains. However, the winter cold proved just as deadly as the soldiers' muskets, and many perished in the snow. In total, around 38 MacDonalds were killed in the initial massacre, but many more died from exposure in the days that followed. Word of the massacre spread quickly and public outcry was swift. Even in a time of brutal clan conflicts, this act was viewed as particularly heinous because of the treachery involved. Guests had murdered their hosts, violating one of the most sacred customs of Highland life. When news reached the Scottish Parliament, there was widespread condemnation and an inquiry was launched. Though no one was officially punished, the blame fell squarely on Sir John Dalrymple. He was forced to resign, but the damage had already been done. The massacre deepened the divisions between the Highland clans and the government, fueling resentment that would smoulder for decades and contribute to later Jacobite uprisings. To this day, the Glencoe Massacre remains a potent symbol of betrayal and injustice in Scottish history. Visitors to Glencoe, one of Scotland's most breathtakingly beautiful landscapes, often reflect on the tragic events that unfolded there. A memorial stands in the village of Glencoe, inscribed with the Gaelic words, "Murder under trust is forbidden." And so, on this day, we remember the fallen MacDonalds and the chilling betrayal that led to their deaths. The echoes of Glencoe still haunt the Highlands, a solemn reminder of a time when political ambition and clan rivalries turned deadly. Thank you for joining us on this day in Scottish history. Tune in tomorrow for another journey into Scotland's past. I'm Colin MacDonald. Haste you back.